The argument with Boss Wasiang starts over the simple fact that I will not work unpaid overtime. He snaps that everyone else is working overtime, so why should I be so special? And when I refuse, he shouts that my resignation is signed and fines me 1,000 on the spot. I answer calmly that if he wants overtime, he can pay for it, because there is no reason for me to work overtime for free. He adds another 2,000 fine for talking back, and by the end of the argument, I have been voluntarily resigned by my own boss, my salary withheld under various pretexts, and accused of breach of contract on top of it. When I pull up the photo I kept of the original contract, I see that the amount he is now demanding in damages is several times what was actually agreed. It is blatant robbery in broad daylight, ignoring every law on paper, and I have no idea where a factory boss finds the immense confidence to behave this way. My name is Jin Chul. I grew up in an orphanage, I have no close friends, and I am an ordinary worker with nothing to my name but a paycheck that no longer exists. Boss Weong declares, right as I leave, that if I do not want the job, plenty of others will take it. It is past 7 in the evening by the time I climb the stairs to my cramped rental apartment. The streets outside the complex are still bustling, but I shut myself in and scroll job listings for the city center on my phone. The evening news plays beside me. The anchor reports that many astronomers have observed a large number of unidentified celestial bodies that may fall onto the blue star in the coming days. That these bodies are very numerous but individually small, that most of them should not be able to break through the atmosphere, and that for safety's sake, people who see meteors streaking across the sky should not rush to make wishes, but find shelter and make sure they are safe. I sigh and mutter to myself that if only meteors could really grant wishes and then give up on the fantasy and go back to job ads, because no matter what happens, I need to secure food and shelter first. Right now, I cannot even think about suing anyone. If I delay a few more days, I will genuinely be eating dirt. I make a cup of instant coffee, take a few sips, and then the pounding starts. Thumping, music, and children's laughter, all of it coming down through the ceiling from the family upstairs. Every night at this time, the bratty child and his parents crank up the music and knock things around the floor until they tire themselves out late into the night. Neighbors have gone up to reason with them countless times, only to be rebuffed by the boy's mother with the usual excuses about how he is just a child, and how old is he versus how old are you. No matter how patiently people try to persuade them, the family remains set in their ways. The boy, seeing his parents defend him, hides behind them and makes faces at whoever has come to complain, with a smug expression that seems to say, yes, I am making noise. And what do you intend to do about it? Not only that, he nurses grudges against every neighbor who has ever complained, and causes endless trouble in return. When families are out, he urinates outside their doors, smears excrement on their doorknobs, and fills the entire hallway with the smell of waste. When anyone reports this to his parents, they refuse to admit fault, and even arrogantly counter that since only these neighbors have trouble and not others, then the problem must lie with the complainers themselves. When someone goes to the property management, it turns out management is relatives of the family and immediately sides with them, so what else is there to do? Everyone who can move out has moved out, disgusted beyond patience, and I am the only one left, because I simply do not have the money to move anywhere else. Already not well off, and now saddled with a problematic family on top, it is truly infuriating. The small mercy is that when neighbors used to go upstairs to complain, I always stood watching from a distance, so I never became a target of the boy's grudge, and was never harassed directly. Even so, the noise ruins my appetite and my coffee goes cold in my hand. There is nothing I can do, because the family has connections, and in this day and age, if you have no background and no connections, you cannot even find a decent job, which is very unfriendly to an orphan like me. I put down the coffee and walk to the window, open it, and stare at the cars coming and going below, sighing silently as the night breeze blows against my face. I had thought this would be another sleepless night, when suddenly a strange green light flashes in the distant sky. I ask aloud what that is, leaning further out of the window, naturally noticing the sudden glow, and before I can react, the green light instantly arrives in front of me, enveloping the entire city center and continuing to spread outward. The eerie light is pervasive, penetrating through walls and shining directly onto everyone caught beneath it. Bathed in the green light, I feel an intense heat run through my body, my breath caught tight, my heart pounding violently, my whole body feeling as if it is about to tear apart. Even the noisy sounds from the family upstairs stop, replaced entirely by the sounds of struggling and bumping against the floor. Outside the complex, there are sharp breaking sounds and deafening collisions, piercing alarms echoing in every direction. I collapse to the ground with my mouth agape, gasping for air, and because of the pain, I cannot even force a sound out of my throat. I only weakly clutch my chest with both hands. Then I prop myself up on my hands, trying to struggle to my feet so I can grab my phone from the table and call for help. What I do not yet know is that everyone in the entire city center is in no better condition than I am at this moment. Some of them are already convulsing uncontrollably, their blood vessels turning black, their eyes rolling back. Ultimately, I still cannot reach my phone, and I pass out. As the green light recedes, the sky returns to night, but nothing can ever go back to how it was before. Outside, dozens of cars have collided, several crushed flat by large trucks that rear-ended them, and raging flames have erupted at the scene. Many of the people inside the cars have already been incinerated in the inferno. Those who had been convulsing stand up again within minutes, but their eyes are hazy. Dark blood vessels are clearly visible beneath their skin. They vomit black blood, and they let out inhuman roars. They have clearly become the zombies from those horror films. These first standing zombies see the ground full of living people who have fainted or are still convulsing, and they stride forward, pounce onto the bodies, and begin tearing and biting at their flesh. The scene quickly turns extremely bloody, and people continue to transform into zombies beneath the lingering green light, with every new zombie joining the grisly feast. Every road and street soon fills with the teeth-grinding sounds of chewing. The following night, meteors with flashing colorful lights begin to streak across the sky. These colorful streaks fall all over the world. Above the city center where I live, countless colorful meteors also pass through the air. Among them, 3 emit the most dazzling light. One of these 3 meteors falls somewhere in the city center. Another falls in the mountains not far from the complex, and the third one falls straight toward my rental apartment. It passes through the open window and lands precisely inside my room. There is no explosion as one might expect. The moment the meteor lands, it seems to suddenly lose all force, setting itself gently on the floor as if something had placed it down with care. It is a relatively smooth, rounded meteorite. Not long after it settles, it begins to crack. After a series of cracking sounds, what was inside the meteorite is revealed. It is actually an egg, black and white, its surface patterned like an inkwash painting. The egg stands quietly in place, right beside me. On my unconscious body, there are none of the signs that mark the people outside who have turned into zombies. My skin is not blackened. My eyes are not rolling back. I remain like a normal person, showing none of the transformations of those around me. The earth gradually awakens, and a sliver of dawn breaks the silence of the night. After an unknown stretch of time, I slowly regain consciousness, opening my hazy eyes and struggling to my feet, gasping for breath. I cough and murmur to myself, asking how long I was out. I get up, go to the table, plug my phone into its charger, and upon turning it on, I discover that 2 whole days have passed since I lost consciousness. By now, it is already bright outside. I look behind me and spot the black and white egg on the floor of my room. I ask myself aloud what this is. Slowly I approach it, and then thick black smoke billowing outside the window catches my attention. I frown and lean out. I see a large crowd of people with missing arms and legs gathered around a car accident site below. I ask aloud what they are doing, and why there is so much blood on the ground, and whether they are filming some kind of movie. I look down at the ground floor of my building and see quite a few strange figures, similar to those on the street. Suddenly, a robust one below notices me, and its head turns up, its gaze meeting mine. Black blood is spewing from its mouth, and its eyes are pale as bone. Images of zombies from films flash through my mind. The atmosphere instantly solidifies. After exchanging a glance with the thing below, I quickly pull my head back from the window, but it is too late. The downstairs door is unlocked. The zombie below lets out a ferocious roar and rushes into the building, its roars echoing up the stairwell. I break into a cold sweat. If this is acting, it is far too realistic. My room is on the 5th floor, which means it will not be long before the creature reaches me. How many impacts could my door, thin as a potato chip, possibly withstand from that thing? Just from that single roar, it is clear this is not a sound a human could make. At this moment, I am burning with anxiety. Could a zombie apocalypse really be happening? And I do not want to die yet. Immediately, my gaze focuses on the black and white egg beside me. I ask myself what this thing is even for, and I swallow. Should I try dripping a drop of blood onto it? Do not the protagonists' pets in novels always form a contract by dripping blood on an egg? While thinking this, I also prepare a backup plan. I take the only cleaver and a fruit knife from the kitchen, then get out some tape and quickly wrap it around my 2 forearms a dozen times. Everything is ready. Only then do I walk to the egg. Regardless of whether it will work, there is no harm in trying. If not, I will fight for my own life with steel. At this point, the roars and footsteps stop on the 4th floor, as if the thing is searching for where exactly I am. I dare not make a sound. I tiptoe when I walk. Why is this one different from the others? It even knows to search upstairs. Just as I am thinking this, bang, a loud crash rings out as a cup falls from the table and shatters on the floor. My eyes widen. The wind outside is strong, blowing the curtain into the room and knocking the cup down. Because of the sound of breaking glass, the zombie downstairs has pinpointed my location, and soon powerful banging sounds come from my door. That zombie is hitting my door. Seeing this, I grit my teeth and use the fruit knife to make a small cut on my finger, smearing the flowing blood onto the eggshell. The next moment, my consciousness seems to establish a connection with something in an unknown place. After carefully sensing it, I realize it is the egg in front of me. I exclaim under my breath that it actually worked, my tone excited as if I have just found the door to a new world. But before I can fully revel in the joy, I quickly realize another problem. Although the contract is made, the egg has not hatched. Bang. At this moment, the hinges break, and the door is kicked straight into the room. The ferocious zombie bursts in from outside. Even worse, the loud commotion from the door being struck has attracted 4 more zombies from other floors who had wandered nearby. A total of 5 zombies rush toward me. Seeing this, I quickly run to the room behind me. Are you kidding me, I think. I did not even know how long it would take to chop down a single zombie, and now 5 have arrived at once. As one of them is about to pounce on me, I decisively raise the cleaver and chop down with force. The blade embeds itself deeply into the zombie's head, and I cannot pull it free no matter how hard I try. The zombie's forward movement does not slow at all, and it stretches out its dark claws, trying to restrain me. Seeing that I am about to be caught, in a moment of desperation I kick its knee with force. It loses its balance and falls. I quickly dodge to the side. The next moment another zombie pounces and bites my arm. Fortunately, I had wrapped the tape around it in advance, so the teeth cannot bite through to my skin immediately. The other three follow closely, roaring and pouncing. Seeing that I have no hope of survival, I go ruthless in my own way, deciding I might as well go all out, and I directly punch the face of the nearest zombie with all the anger I can muster. Just then, the egg in the corner of the room suddenly trembles, and a small crack appears on its shell. Immediately after, the environment around my fist becomes distorted. Before my fist has even touched the zombie's face, its head suddenly explodes. It is not over. The bodies of the three zombies behind are shredded into a bloody mess by a strange energy, and even the lower half of the zombie biting my arm is shredded by that same force. I am left somewhat bewildered. Was the attack just now caused by me? I quickly shake the zombie biting my arm off, check to confirm I am not injured, then grab a small stool nearby and repeatedly smash the remaining zombie's head until it stops moving. Before more can enter, I quickly use a cabinet to block the door. Afterward, I collapse to the floor, clearly still recovering from the shock of what just happened. I had not expected the zombie virus to actually break out. My stomach rumbles with hunger. Indeed, I have been unconscious for 2 days and just fought a large battle. I go to the kitchen, open the refrigerator, and a putrid smell emanates from inside. Under the effect of that green light, fresh vegetables, fruits, and meat have all become inedible. Fortunately, canned goods, biscuits, and freeze-dried foods are still safe. I open a bottle of soda, hold a box of biscuits, and walk to the window, eating as I check on the egg. The moment I see the egg, I freeze, a biscuit still in my mouth. The eggshell is shattered all over the floor, and what was inside is nowhere to be seen. Just then I feel something pressing on my left shoulder. I glance slightly to the side and see a pair of small paws that have appeared on my left shoulder at some point. I stiffly turn my head and meet the gaze of a furry little head. It lets out a string of excited noises that sound like a woo and wah and woo-wah. Startled, I quickly turn around and back away a few steps, which causes the creature on my shoulder to spin in place. After it stops, I finally get a clear look at its full appearance. It is a creature I have never seen before, with a build like a cat or dog, its entire body covered in glossy black fur, a long tail, 2 horns on its head, and it is floating in midair. In a voice that sounds like a child's, it apologizes for scaring me and calls me master. The black beast then eyes the box of biscuits in my hand and sniffs at the air, saying that it smells good and asking if it can try some. Seeing it drool, I tentatively offer a piece. It thanks me and immediately begins chewing heartily. I ask what it just called me. It explains that since I put blood on the egg and contracted with them, I have become their master. I ask it, what it means by us. Another voice rings out behind me, a cooler and more measured one, saying that to be able to contract 2 beast spirits at once without any discomfort means my talent cannot be too low either. I turn in the direction of the voice and see another creature, covered in white fur, with a single horn on its head, and otherwise the same shape as the black one. I ask it, who it is. It tells me that if I want to learn about them, I can find out by carefully communicating with the depths of my mind. I close my eyes and try to sense within my sea of consciousness the way it instructs. Sure enough, 2 figures appear in my mind, belonging to the 2 small beasts in front of me, each one attached to a stream of corresponding information. Through this sensing, I finally learn that the white one is called the Time Wheel Phantom Beast. Its attribute is time, and the black one is called the Void Rift Shadow Beast. Its attribute is space. Not only that, I also learned that these creatures all share a collective name, Beast Spirit. Beast Spirits are divided into 9 qualities, from F to SSS, based on their potential limit. The higher the potential, the stronger the power. My 2 beast spirits, astonishingly, are of the highest quality, SSS. After contracting a beast spirit, the person can use the corresponding attribute ability of that beast spirit. The more beast spirits contracted, the more abilities available. I come back to myself in high spirits. It means the 2 in front of me are my beast spirits, 1 time element and 1 space element, which means I can use time element and space element abilities. I think to myself that I am going to take off directly. That punch I threw earlier must have been my body using the Void Rift Shadow Beast's space ability. Then I calm down, close my eyes, and try to use the Time Wheel Phantom Beast's time ability. All the surrounding objects freeze. The Void Rift Shadow Beast's chewing pauses mid-motion. Even the black blood splattered on the ceiling, which had been slowly dripping, hangs suspended in the air. Time pause. However, this state lasts only 2 or 3 seconds before the surrounding objects recover from their frozen state. The black blood finishes dripping to the ground, and the Void Rift Shadow Beast resumes chewing its biscuit. The Time Wheel Phantom Beast, who also sensed what just happened, turns in surprise to look at me. It remarks that I learn quite fast, which saves it the trouble of teaching me. It then asks whether I would like it to give them simpler names, since calling them by their full race names every time is too long. I tell it that is up to it. It says all right, give it a moment to think, and for the next 2 minutes I rack my brain for suitable names. Finally, after some deliberation, I choose 2 decent ones based on their birth order. The white one, the elder, I name Ming Zhao. The black one, the younger, I name Ming Kong. At least I consider those 2 names acceptable. Looking at my 2 beast spirits, I am very satisfied. Their exposed forms might seem dangerous, but this worry is actually superfluous. These are not their true bodies, they can disappear and reappear at any time. Their true bodies have already merged into my body. As long as I do not die, they will remain safe. As for whether there will be an opportunity for their true bodies to reappear in the future, that is a matter for later. Once my stamina has replenished somewhat, I look at Ming Kong and say that since he is space element, I should be able to use something like a portable storage space. Ming Kong responds with a cheerful noise and tells me that of course I can, master, and that as long as I wish, with just a thought I can put things into the space. I am very excited after hearing this. I try it on the pen on the table, and sure enough with a thought the pen disappears, pulled into the space. With another thought the pen reappears in my hand. There is not much food in my room, but with this space I can go out and thoroughly raid the supermarket. Suddenly a glint from the corner catches my attention. I ask myself if something reflected light just now. I walk over and see a puddle of black and red flesh, with some white liquid oozing from it that seems to be zombie brain matter. Pushing aside the soft matter, I dig out a transparent crystal from it. The glint earlier was because of this. I then look at the surrounding minced meat and, suppressing my disgust, meticulously sift through it piece by piece, but find nothing. I search through all the minced meat in the entire room and finally dig out another crystal from the head of the zombie I had smashed to death. I hand these 2 transparent objects to the Time Wheel Phantom Beast for inspection. After picking up and examining the crystal, Ming Zhao tells me that these 2 objects seem to be able to enhance their power. I ask if beast spirits have power levels too. It confirms that every beast spirit starts at tier 1, and that after its power reaches a certain level, the energy within its body will transform, gaining more powerful strength. That signifies an increase in power level. Ming Zhao adds the beast spirits grow stronger by devouring other beast spirits, and some special materials like the crystal cores in my hand. Since that is the case, I say, then these 2 things are for them. Hearing that they can become stronger, I decisively divide the 2 crystal cores equally between Ming Zhao and Ming Kong. As for these white crystals, I decide to just call them crystal cores for now. After the 2 beasts swallow the cores, I indeed feel that my time and space powers have both received a slight boost. This way a path to becoming stronger has emerged. Next, I will first go to the supermarket to stock up on food and supplies. After everything is ready, I move the cabinet aside and walk out of my room. The hallway is very quiet. Because of the noisy family upstairs, almost all the surrounding rooms are empty, which creates a relatively safe area for me. The 4 zombies attracted by the sound of the door being crashed were probably all the zombies nearby. Speaking of that noisy family upstairs, my steps pause as I descend, and I turn around and walk upstairs instead. I mutter to myself that they have been making noise every single night, and I have put up with them for too long. I quickly arrive on the 6th floor. Since there are no zombies in the surrounding hallway, I directly kick the door open with brute force, which I discover works easily after my contract with the beast spirits because my physical fitness has improved significantly. After the door breaks open, 4 zombies come into view. The noisy boy's missing an arm. One thigh has been gnawed down to the bone, and half of his head has been bitten off. It looks as if the parents and grandmother had turned into zombies first, and upon seeing the child who had not been transformed, immediately turned on him. The 4 zombies roar and lunge. I am not flustered in the slightest. With a gentle wave of my hands, I activate the space element ability, directly severing the heads of the 3 adult zombies from a distance. Then, with a graceful turn, I bring a hand knife down vertically and split the child zombie in half from a distance. I step forward, split open the heads of these zombies to confirm they are finished, and retrieve 3 crystal cores from them. Only the boy's head has no core, just a bit of transparent liquid that seems to be an unformed core. I mutter to myself that it seems for now only the first batch of converted zombies have formed crystal cores in their heads. I feed 2 of the 3 cores to the Void Rift Shadow Beast and 1 to the Time Wheel Phantom Beast, which is something Ming Xiao and I discussed in advance. Currently, I still need to improve my own offensive capabilities. The time type can be kept as a trump card for now, with priority given to leveling up Ming Kong. Ming Xiao has agreed to this plan. After dealing with the family and thoroughly scavenging the apartment for supplies, I descend the stairs with satisfaction. Arriving at the entrance, I see dozens of zombies wandering the roads of the residential complex. I directly appear in front of these zombies in a swaggering manner. Facing the zombies clawing and biting at me, I merely stand still, keeping my hand raised. When most of them are less than a meter away, I activate Time Stop, and every zombie is instantly frozen in place. At the same time, my raised arm falls, activating Space Force, and with a horizontal swing I deal with most of them in one move. There are still a few slower ones several meters away, out of my attack range, but it is of no consequence. The Time Wheel Phantom Beast is only tier 1, so the duration of Time Stop is still relatively short, only able to pause things for 2 seconds, just enough for me to land 3 attacks. After time resumes, the remaining zombies rush forward, but they pose no threat. With another casual wave of my hand, their heads also fall off. Their headless bodies twitch a few times before falling still. These zombies are from the first batch of conversions, and this wave alone yields over a dozen crystal cores. I feed a large portion to the Void Rift Shadow Beast. As Ming Kong continuously consumes them, the space force within my body steadily increases. Suddenly I feel a warmth spread throughout my body, and at the same time my space force begins to solidify, my strength growing significantly. This state lasts only a few seconds. After it ends, I feel the power of my space-type ability several times stronger than before. I ask myself whether this means Tier 2 has been reached. I begin to check Ming Kong's status in my consciousness, and his strength has indeed climbed by 1 tier. I count. Ming Kong has just eaten 12 crystal cores, plus the 3 it ate earlier, making 15. I will try to advance Ming Xiao later to see whether each beast spirit consistently needs to consume 15 cores to advance. I first rush to the nearest convenience store. The rolling shutter is still open, so I walk straight in and collect all the food, drinks, and daily necessities that have not been affected by the green light into my spatial storage. I do not even spare the cigarettes and alcohol at the counter. Although I do not smoke or drink myself, there will always come a time when they might be useful. There is no need to worry about the space being full. I can clearly sense that my spatial storage is boundless, capable of holding even tall buildings. Do not ask me how I know, because I have just tried putting an entire residential building into my spatial storage, and it succeeded. I continue toward the supermarket outside the complex's main gate, encountering more zombies along the way. After killing my way through, I have gradually mastered my space abilities. With a slight flick of my finger, I can remotely sever a zombie's head. After this round of killing, I harvest another 43 crystal cores. I find a random room, kill the zombies inside, and after obtaining another crystal core, I begin to feed the Time Wheel Phantom Beast to verify my hypothesis. Ming Xiao has already eaten 2 earlier. When I continuously feed it up to the 13th core, that comfortable sensation returns. As expected, when I emerge from that state, my time-type ability has also made a qualitative leap, advancing to Tier 2. At this point, I can almost confirm that a beast spirit requires 15 crystal cores to advance from Tier 1 to Tier 2, and that the number required for subsequent advancements is likely fixed as well. Having found my answer, I no longer hesitate and continue toward the supermarket at the complex's entrance. Arriving at the main gate, I immediately spot the supermarket door opposite, with its rolling shutter tightly closed. This is a small, privately owned supermarket. Because it was the closest and on my regular route, I often frequented this store before the apocalypse. The supermarket was run by a single mother and her daughter. The daughter still in high school and quite good looking. However, I am not interested. I have a strong ability to accept facts, and now that it is the apocalypse, I naturally assume they are already dead. I forcefully open the rolling shutter, enter the supermarket, and begin collecting everything edible and usable. The items in the supermarket are much more abundant than in the convenience store, with everything imaginable in food, drinks, and daily necessities. I am unceremonious, collecting everything within my sight that has not gone bad into my spatial storage. Suddenly, a subtle movement comes from the shelves ahead, catching my ear and causing me to pause. Immediately after, a scene appears in my mind. In the vision, I walk to the end of this row of shelves. Before I can turn around, a cleaver flies rapidly toward me from behind the shelves. My counterpart in the vision does not dodge, directly taking the blow. Due to my body's strength increasing significantly after reaching Tier 2, an attack that would normally sever an entire arm only causes a shallow wound. I look in the direction the knife came from and see that the person wielding the cleaver is the terrified shop owner. The vision ends there. This is me using my time-type ability to briefly glimpse into the future. I am also somewhat surprised that this mother and daughter had such good luck and have not been turned into zombies. I call out to the 2 behind the shelves, saying that they do not need to hide and that I am human. The 2 behind the shelves hear a human voice and cautiously poke their heads out first. Upon recognizing me, they finally breathe a sigh of relief and emerge with the daughter. The shop owner begins to ask about closing the shutter door. I tell her that most of the nearby zombies are dead, so no zombies will come for a while. After glancing at her, I ignore them and continue to collect items in front of them. However, I do not take all the food and water. I instead leave enough for them to eat for about a week. I have no grudge against this mother and daughter, and there is no need to be too ruthless. But they cannot hide forever. If they still refuse to go out and kill zombies after a week, it means they are not suited to survive in this apocalypse. Watching my methods, the girl unconsciously whispers to her mother that he is taking their stuff. The shop owner immediately turns her head and glares at the girl, who realizes she has said the wrong thing and quickly covers her mouth. Seeing me look over, the shop owner awkwardly smiles and explains that the child is still young and speaks without thinking, and that these things are all mine and I can take them all. As she speaks, she trembles, terrified that if I become displeased, I will kill them outright. Being killed directly would be the better outcome in her mind, since what she fears is what might happen in between. But I do not pay attention to their words. Why bother with 2 people who might not even be alive in a week? After leaving them enough food for a week, I walk out of the supermarket door. The shop owner and her daughter follow me with their eyes, seeing the scene outside. The surroundings full of bloody corpses, the pungent smell of blood making them retch. All of this in front of them was done by this man. An absurd thought appears in the shop owner's mind, but then she thinks that this might not be a bad thing. The shop owner takes a long, deep look at me, sharing the same thought as the girl beside her. The apocalypse has clearly arrived, and she has read some apocalyptic novels in her spare time. In the apocalypse, women are more dangerous than men, and even more dangerous than women are pretty and young women. She looks at her young daughter, her mind already made up. If this kind of thing has to be faced sooner or later, rather than being forced when the time comes, it would be better to act while she still has a choice. Although she is a little older, she is still quite pretty. As long as her daughter can survive, what does a little hardship for herself matter? Seeing me about to pull down the shutter, the shop owner quickly speaks up, asking me to wait a moment. I stop my movement and look at her. She pulls her daughter forward and runs up, then kneels before me. She says, "Sir, we want to follow you, that I can take all the food here, and that she only asks that I protect her daughter. Her daughter is still young," she says, "but she is willing to promise me anything." After speaking, she looks at me with nervous eyes, awaiting my reply. The plots in novels are always like this. Any good-looking woman, as long as she kneels down and feigns pity, can make the protagonist's sense of justice overflow and agree to take them in. I echo her words back, asking slowly whether she means that, as long as I agree to let her follow me, she will do anything for me. She answers yes, as long as I can protect her daughter, she can do anything. Although the shop owner grits her teeth as she speaks, clearly finding it difficult, she still looks at me with burning eyes, anticipating my agreement. I respond with a straight face that I refuse. What the hell? They want to follow me. For what? To drag me down? Do they really think reality is a novel where brainless women throw themselves at the protagonist, each vying to be part of a harem? Would it not be better for me to keep all these supplies for myself? I am not an emperor. Why would I need a harem? Women, I think bluntly, are just burdens in the apocalypse. They would only hinder my path to becoming stronger. From beginning to end, I never intended to form a team with anyone. True powerhouses do not need to rely on anyone, and truly strong women would not brainlessly throw themselves at any man. Without waiting for the mother and daughter to react, I quickly pulled the rolling shutter back down, isolating myself from them. Leaving them some food was already being benevolent. These two women actually wanted to cling to me. Did they really think I was like those useless protagonists in novels whose little minds controlled their bigger minds, unable to walk straight when they saw a woman? I have read many apocalyptic power fantasy novels, but almost all of them feature saintly teddy bear protagonists who collect harems. There are very few truly good ones. The pale words cannot hide the author's underlying desires. I came to read power fantasy, not to see what is beneath their heroines' robes. It is bad enough to be elbowed by life, but even reading a power fantasy cannot spare me from this. Did I violate some heavenly rule in my previous life? I have often been severely criticized in the reviews of these books for my overly sharp comments. Really, I do not understand why so many people write such disgusting material. Does the plot really just follow the flattery of the heroine? If such a trash protagonist existed in reality, I would definitely hang him up and fiercely punish his weakness. After killing another batch of zombies, I hide in an empty room to rest. Chewing on bread, my mind cannot help but replay the moment where the shop owner had proposed following me. I shake my head, momentarily dazed. Although women may betray you, power never will. After a simple rest, I leave the room again and continue to kill the zombies outside. Since there are space and time element beast spirits, there must also be beast spirits of elements like metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. I ask Ming Xiao, while killing zombies, whether I can contract beast spirits infinitely. Ming Xiao replies that infinite contracting is impossible and that I can only contract one beast spirit of each attribute at most. He adds that everyone's talent is limited, so those with high talent can contract only 2 or 3, while those with high talent can contract more, and that theoretically it is indeed possible to become an all-attribute wielder. I ask, then what if I contract all attribute beast spirits now and replace them when I find better ones later? Before I can finish speaking, the Time Wheel Phantom Beast pours cold water on me. He asks what I take beast spirits for and whether I think I can just want them and then discard them. He tells me that once a beast spirit of any attribute makes a choice, the choice cannot be changed, and that 2 beast spirits of the same attribute entering the body will devour each other, with the stronger devouring the weaker. And during the process of 2 beast spirits devouring each other, their host will also experience extreme pain. If the one devoured is the newly arrived beast spirit, that is fine, but if the one devoured is my original beast spirit, then I will just have to wait for the energy of that attribute to go out of control and be killed by my own attacks. I ask what if I contract 2 beast spirits with completely identical strength and attributes, so that neither can defeat the other and they will not be devoured. Ming Xiao asks mockingly whether I am so brave, and whether I want to be tormented by pain forever. I am embarrassed. I almost forgot about that. It seems exploiting bugs will not work. Then I can terminate the contract, I say. Ming Xiao answers that in that case the attribute in me will be wasted forever, and I will never be able to contract a beast spirit of the same attribute again. I complain, how can it be like this? While complaining, I kill another large group of zombies. The blade of space easily slices across their necks, severing every head and once again yielding dozens of crystal cores. Ming Xiao adds, sharp as ever, that I should stop thinking up clever schemes. For each attribute's beast spirit, I only get one chance to choose. He tells me they are not my tools to be discarded at will, and that there is no transaction in this world without a price. After Ming Zhao's explanation, I give up on the idea of immediately contracting an all-attribute collection. But it does not matter. I can take my time to find them all eventually. At the same time, on the rooftop of a nearby residential building, a pair of eyes is staring intently at me as I slaughter hordes of zombies below. Wielding 2 cleavers, I take down a small zombie with each strike and look incredibly formidable. A young man on the rooftop calls out to the girl beside him to come see. The girl, who he calls Lily, runs over to his side. They are a couple, and 2 days ago they had come to the rooftop for a different kind of intimacy before the sudden green light interrupted their plans. When they woke up again, they found that downstairs was full of flesh-eating monsters, so they have been trapped on the roof ever since. Beside them is a red, dog-like beast spirit that they found on the rooftop after waking. The girl accidentally got blood on it, and just like that, Huang Lili contracted the Fire Scale Hound and gained the ability to control fire. However, the Fire Scale Hound's quality is too low. Only F rank, so Huang Lili can barely control a flame the size of a matchstick for combat. The boyfriend points his hand downward and tells Lily to look. She follows the direction of his finger and sees me clearing zombies far below, and a glimmer of hope for survival ignites in her heart. He marvels aloud that I can kill those monsters from a distance, and asks if I also have special abilities like hers, though he notes that mine seems stronger. He tells her never mind all that for now, and that asking for help is more important. Lily agrees, and both of them begin shouting toward me, asking me to save them. Not just the 2 of them, but all the survivors downstairs who hear the sound and see me below also open their windows and begin calling for help. A man begs me to save him, saying there are so many monsters outside his door. Another shouts that he is here too, that he wants to be saved as well. A third screams that they are hitting his door right now and that I need to come save him quickly. Yet another cries out for me to save him first, because they have already come in, they are hitting his room, and they have come in. And the scream cuts off mid-sentence as the man stops screaming entirely. I am so annoyed by the noise from the people upstairs that I directly retreat, luring the zombies to a distance before fighting them. Only when I can no longer hear the shouts do I stop and continue to collect crystal cores. In my opinion, most of the zombies have been lured away by me. If the survivors still cannot escape with the way now clearer, it is not on me. Seeing me lure the zombies off, and with only a scattered handful left, fewer than 10, the surroundings suddenly become quiet, and secretly many survivors begin to stir. However, no one is willing to be the first to move. The few zombies below are still a huge threat to them, yet this calm does not last long. A young man is seen jumping from the 2nd floor, and after stabilizing himself he quickly runs in one direction. The scattered zombies roar and immediately give chase. Finally, the young man bends down and quickly picks up something from the ground. Then, through the burglar bars on the 1st floor, he quickly jumps onto the 2nd floor windowsill opposite. Trembling, he opens his clenched hand and sees a crystal-clear crystal core in his palm. This was dropped by me when I killed zombies, but I had no time to pick it up, because I had to deal with others, and now it has become a hope for someone else's life. The young man swallows the crystal core in one gulp, laughing maniacally, because he believes he will soon become a superpowered individual like me. Indeed, after swallowing the crystal core, a warm sensation spreads in his abdomen, but before he can rejoice his stomach churns, and the imagined awakening of an ability does not occur. Instead, he vomits a large pool of black blood, splashing it onto the heads of the zombies below. He instantly becomes weak. After vomiting a few more times, the blood vessels in his body also begin to turn black, and finally he loses his balance and falls from the windowsill into the horde below. Many people also take advantage of the zombies devouring him to jump down from their windows. Little by little, the couple on the rooftop also sees this opportunity, grabbing a downward water pipe and sliding down quickly. Because of the young man's death, a group of people successfully leave their rooms and disperse to search for food. What happens after that is beyond my control. On my side, I have already dealt with this wave of zombies, once again harvesting dozens of crystal cores. After killing the last zombie, I put away the cleavers in my hands. I lean on my knees, panting heavily. Killing over 100 zombies in such a short time has pushed my tier 2 physique to its limit. I find an empty room, sit on the sofa, unwrap a piece of bread and begin to devour it. The Void Rift Shadow Beast runs out at this moment, rubs against my arm, and its eyes almost shoot out light as it looks at the bread. Not stingy with the food, I unwrap another pack and feed it to greedy Ming Kong. I ask Ming Xiao if he wants some. The Time Wheel Phantom Beast pauses, but still takes the bread I offer and slowly eats it off to the side. After finishing the bread, I take out a box of self-heating hot pot, pour water in, close the lid, and wait for it to heat up. As time passes, an alluring aroma wafts from the hot pot. Just then, a sound of objects colliding suddenly comes from the corner, caught by my newly keen ears. My gaze locks onto a cabinet. I cautiously stand up and slowly walk toward it, the space on my left hand beginning to distort. Extending my right hand, at the moment it touches the cabinet door, I flip it open with lightning speed, as if ringing a bell to steal a bell. The moment the cabinet door opens, I quickly retreat backward, then observe the situation inside. I see that what is hidden inside the cabinet is not a zombie but a light green fawn beast spirit. At this moment the fawn is bleeding, too weak to stand up because it has not eaten for too long. Beast spirits need to eat before being contracted, but after being contracted, eating or not eating does not matter. I ask aloud what to make of this one and whether it is worth contracting. When in doubt, I directly bring out the omniscient Ming Xiao. He steps forward, takes a look, then carefully senses it, and finally gives a conclusion. A beast spirit of around B rank quality, seemingly wood elemental. He tells me that if I want to, I can contract it, but asks what if I encounter a better quality one later. Before he can finish speaking, I understand his meaning. I say alright, then I do not want it. He reminds me that beast spirits can also be enhanced by devouring other beast spirits, so that if I really want to, I could use the fawn for that purpose. He asks if I am sure I want him to eat it. Ming Kong's eyes light up when he hears eat, and he leans in too, asking excitedly what we are eating and insisting that he wants some as well. I stroke Ming Kong's soft fur, and I have to admit it feels incredibly comfortable. After stroking him, my gaze returns to its usual coldness, and I tell them to eat it. As I speak, two large black and white beast-shaped phantoms appear behind me. The two phantoms directly open their mouths, and each bite into half of the fawn's body. With a tearing sound, the fawn is ripped apart, becoming nourishment for Ming Xiao and Ming Kong. After devouring the flesh and blood, the two phantoms return into my body. At the same time, I feel a slight increase in both types of power within me. It seems eating other beast spirits is indeed useful. It is just that this fawn's quality and rank were too low to provide a significant boost. However, I am not picky. Even a mosquito's leg is still meat. Next, I take out crystal cores from my space and begin to let Ming Kong absorb them. For every core Ming Kong eats, I count in my mind. It is not until the 98th core that I feel my spatial energy increase by another level. I estimate it will take about 100 crystal cores to advance from Tier 2 to Tier 3. The half fawn we had just eaten was equivalent to 2 cores. If calculated this way, advancing from Tier 3 to Tier 4 would likely require several hundred to 1,000. I just do not know whether zombies will get stronger or whether the quality of the crystal cores will improve. There are still 42 cores left. All of them are fed to Ming Xiao, and his time power increases by another segment. At this moment, my self-heating hot pot is also ready. I happily eat it. After clearing the entire bowl, I lean back comfortably on the sofa, one hand stroking my belly. With my other hand, I pet the Void Rift Shadow Beast beside me, who is also squinting his eyes contentedly. After half a day of interaction, I have more or less figured out the personalities of my two beast spirits. The Time Wheel Phantom Beast is relatively arrogant and hardly allows me to pet him, while the Void Rift Shadow Beast is more affectionate, at least with me. I can pet him however I want, and he is also quite gluttonous. But no matter what, they are both loyal to me and will not betray their master. Because if the master dies and does not terminate the contract before dying, their quality will drop by 1 rank, along with a decrease in their strength and potential upper limit. Neither party can easily abandon the other. Suddenly, I turn my head to the Time Wheel Phantom Beast, who is sitting in the distance licking his paws. I ask him if he can sense beast spirits of the same quality as himself. He tells me not exactly sense, but if they are within a certain range, he can indeed perceive them. However, this range is extremely limited, and he can barely perceive them unless they are face to face. Upon hearing this, I lower my head and ponder. I ask if he can perceive any now. He answers, "Are you joking?" After resting for an afternoon, night falls. I find a map of the city in my room and sit on the sofa, planning my route for the next day. Under the cover of darkness, zombies become more active, their sense of smell more acute. They also retain their vision, so anyone who dares to emit the slightest light will be discovered and killed. I only take out a small flashlight from my space, illuminating the map little by little, considering which path to take. My next destination is the city center, because it has many large shopping malls, which means a large amount of supplies. If I can empty everything inside, I will not have to worry about food for a while. Additionally, I plan to keep an eye out for farmers markets along the way. Although fresh vegetables, fruits, and meat cannot be eaten, if I can find seeds, I might be able to achieve self-sufficiency through cultivation. Furthermore, after looting the city center, I will pass through a mountain forest and head to City B, which is adjacent to this city. Yes, that is the plan. After formulating my plan and steps, I lie on the sofa and doze off. As for why I do not sleep in the bed, it is because the bed is covered in blood and the bedding is stuck together. Someone had probably been killed in the bed, turned into a zombie, and then left. Early the next morning, after breakfast and after confirming that there are no zombies around, I find a car and begin to follow my planned route. This route will pass by many small shops and supermarkets, which is perfect for replenishing supplies. However, I will not take everything. I will leave some for those survivors brave enough to venture out for food. As for the medicines in hospitals, I do not really need them. To be honest, with my current Tier 3 physical fitness, I no longer fear most diseases. If even such physical fitness cannot resist a disease, then those medicines would not be of much use. Moreover, there must be beast spirit abilities related to healing, so I can just contract one when the time comes. Along the way, zombies constantly attack me and many survivors call for help, but I ignore them all. Killing these zombies also becomes increasingly effortless. Now I can slaughter a group of zombies with a casual wave of my hand. Soon, one supermarket and shop after another is plundered by me, and the supplies in my space increase again. Arriving at the farmer's market, a strong smell of decay assaults me, enough to make a normal person vomit outright. Fortunately, I can barely resist the stench. I take a deep breath, activate time stop, and with the power of space quickly clear out all the zombies in the entire market. After digging out the crystal cores from their brains, I begin searching for seeds among the piles of rotting vegetables. But I am disappointed. All the seeds inside have also rotted. They turn to powder with a squeeze and cannot be planted at all. I can only sigh helplessly and continue to rush toward the city center. The city center, originally the most prosperous area of City A, has now become a zombie paradise. Countless zombies surround it, making it impossible for the survivors inside to break through. Inside an office building in the city center, a middle-aged man looks out of a floor-to-ceiling window with a melancholy expression at the horde of zombies blocked outside the door. He lights one of his few remaining cigarettes and smokes silently. A person who seems to be the middle-aged man's subordinate enters to report the situation. He addresses the man as Brother Chionel and asks what they should do next, because the food in this building will not last them much longer. The middle-aged man, whom everyone calls Brother Chionel, asks whether all the nearby buildings have been searched, and whether there are any more of those strange eggs. The subordinate replies that all the nearby buildings have been searched, and a total of 3 have been found. Brother Chionel says too few, and asks whether there are any more. The subordinate hesitates, saying, Brother Chionel tells him to speak. The subordinate explains that one more has been found in the underground garage of this building, and that this egg emits a colorful light from its surface, so the creature inside should be very strong. However, the underground garage is full of zombies, and this egg is hard to get. Chionil absorbs the information in silence, tapping ash from his cigarette. He asks who got the other 3 eggs. The subordinate answers that they went to Junyuk, Chianki, and Waisong. Chionil feels much calmer knowing they all went to his most loyal subordinates, but the 4 of them alone are not enough. He asks whether there is any way to get the egg from the basement. The subordinate says he is afraid, Brother Chionil, that it might only be possible if all 4 of them go together, and besides, the others do not have many decent weapons, so they probably will not be much help either. As he speaks, the little follower suddenly leans in and whispers to Chionil, asking how about these people. He does not finish the second half of the sentence, but Chionil already understands what the follower means. To sacrifice the ordinary survivors to the zombies is a distraction. Chionil refuses, saying no, that if they abandon these people, then who will take the bullets for them? Does the follower want to charge at the very front? The follower shakes his head. Chionil tells him all right, that he will take another look, and that maybe things will turn around. The follower leaves the room. The perspective shifts to the other survivors in the office building. Wai Ziong and his 2 companions, who have each contracted beast spirits, are sitting on a sofa, comfortably enjoying the service of a dozen women. These dozen women are all survivors rescued by Chionil and his group, because later, besides Chionil, the 3 of them successively contracted beast spirits. Their inflated egos led them to directly arrange for all the good-looking women among the survivors to serve them. The beast spirits contracted by Wisiong, Junyuk, and Chianki are of the water, fire, and metal elements, respectively. The women have been told to remove some of their clothing. Waisong watches a slender young woman twist her waist, and he can no longer suppress the ugly urge in his heart. He gets up, embraces the woman, his hands moving over her waist and threatening to wander further. The woman begins to panic and says, that this is not what was agreed upon, sir. However, before the young woman can say anything more, Waisong hoists her onto his shoulder and, ignoring her struggles, walks straight into another room. After the door locks, desperate sobbing drifts out from behind it. The other women tremble like rattles, fearing they will be next. If they had the strength, they would resist, but unfortunately, reality is cruel. Meanwhile, I have just finished scavenging a supermarket. Through the constant fighting, my Time Wheel Phantom Beast has also advanced to Tier 3. I have also found many uncontracted beast spirits, but their quality is too low, so I have given them to Mingxiao and Mingkong to devour. Across from this supermarket is the company where I had previously been exploited. I specifically go in to take a look and find no living people inside, nor do I find the corpse of that black-hearted boss Wisong. This makes me feel a little disappointed. Just as I am about to continue driving to the city center, after coming out, I discover that someone is stealing my car door. Yes, I had not locked it. Immediately after, the couple start the car, floor the accelerator, and speed forward recklessly. However, they only drive a short distance before the car loses control and crashes into a wall. I watch the young couple in confusion, blood streaming from their heads, as they struggle to crawl out of the car, groaning as they do so. I think to myself that you cannot even drive, yet you dare to floor the accelerator. I am not too bothered about the car being stolen. Anyway, I had just found this car casually, and it is not far from the city center, so I can walk there in a few steps. Compared to that, these 2 people attract my attention more, but they really make me unable to understand. They inexplicably rushed over, crashed my car, and now they are rolling on the ground like fish out of water. It is not until I see the next scene that I finally understand what is happening. Around the corner in front of the young couple, several dogs with black blood suddenly dart out and lunge at them. They are infected zombie dogs. Seeing this, the man quickly pulls out a cleaver from his waist and begins to hack at them. To my surprise, facing the swinging cleaver, the zombie dog that had been running in a straight line actually swerves to dodge the blow. Logically, these cold weapons should not be dodged by zombies. I had killed several zombies with a cleaver yesterday, and even when I struck them on the head, I did not see any of them dodge. So in my opinion, these zombies have no sense of pain. Could it be that animals turned into zombies are smarter than humans? The zombie dog that dodged the blow takes advantage of the man's inability to dodge during his swing, opens its bloody maw and bites directly into the man's arm. The man screams, and with a strong pull from the zombie dog, the man's entire arm holding the knife is torn off, and bright red blood splatters everywhere. At this moment, several more zombie dogs pounce, directly tearing the man to shreds. The woman has even less combat power to speak of, and instead of running, she just keeps screaming on the side. Zombie dogs appeared. She screamed. The man rushed forward with a knife. She screamed. The man was torn apart by zombie dogs, and she was still screaming. Soon, the young couple is overwhelmed by a dozen or so zombie dogs. After eating, the zombie dogs fix their gaze on me, who am not far away. I am not afraid of this group. With a casual space blade, I kill a large number of them. I can also activate time stop at will, so these zombie dogs do not even have a chance to get close before they are all slain. I take out the crystal cores from them and have Ming Xiao carefully examine them, finding that they are indeed slightly higher in energy than those from humanoid zombies. But it is only a little higher, not much use. After giving them to Ming Xiao, I then proceed on foot to the city center. 2 hours later, I look at the pile of zombies ahead, my eyes almost popping out. The reason is simple. There are at least 10,000 zombies present, and so many crystal cores will definitely be another huge boost. However, rushing in directly is definitely not an option. It would be safest to kill them in batches. Thinking this, I slowly retreat without alarming any zombies. Finding a locked room, I directly draw a circle on the door with my finger. Then, the space inside and outside the door is connected, forming a spatial gate. I walk into the room's interior without any hindrance. Upon entering the room, the spatial gate quickly disappears, leaving no trace on the door. Inside the room, everything is neatly arranged. The table surface has no dust. There are still some eaten cans in the trash can, and even the soup inside is not dried up. All signs indicate that someone is hiding in this room. But at this moment, the room is eerily quiet. Could it be that the owner is resting? I go to the bedroom and only see the quilt piled to one side. I then search the entire house but find no one. I once again look at the wardrobe. Surely no one would be hiding in there, right? I slowly approach, and vaguely I even smell a hint of blood. Realizing the problem, I immediately step forward and pull open the cabinet door. As a result, a strong smell of blood erupts from it, and a pile of white bones, still clinging with some flesh and blood, appears before my eyes. Seeing this, I immediately retreat and stand in the center of the room. This room has a problem. Immediately after, a pattering sound of movement comes from the walls of the room, accompanied by squeaking noises. I immediately realize these are mutated rats. Subsequently, zombie rats scurry out of rat holes hidden in various corners of the room. These holes were deeply concealed, some under the sofa, some under the bed, and even some above the wardrobe. One rat lunges at my back with extreme speed. Fortunately, I react in time, swiftly throwing a space blade behind me, cutting the zombie rat in half and avoiding being bitten. If there is no clear method to cure the zombie virus, it is better not to be touched. However, these zombie rats are agile, numerous, and small in size. They surround me, preventing me from escaping the room. What I do not notice is that 3 zombie rats are silently clinging to the ceiling above my head. These 3 zombie rats drop straight down, their sharp teeth about to land on my face. Suddenly, the Time Wheel Phantom Beast and the Void Rift Shadow Beast appear. The zombie virus has no effect on beast spirits, and they cannot die. They use their bodies to block the surprise attack of these 3 zombie rats from me. I sense the movement and quickly turn to check. Ming Xiao reprimands me, telling me I should watch out, and that I almost got them all killed. Seeing the failed sneak attack from the 3 brethren above, the zombie rat swarm immediately erupts, howling and pouncing toward me. I apologize casually, telling him I knew they would come out to block. As I speak, I turn my head, facing hundreds of zombie rats without fear. I cross my arms, rapidly activating the spatial power within my body to create a distorted space within a small area. Any zombie rats that pounce and pass through this distorted space are all torn apart by the space. Soon, a wave of zombie rats is dealt with by me, but before I can relax, another group gathers from behind and charges at me again. I have no choice but to distort the surrounding space again, meticulously killing all these rats. But this cannot go on. There is no telling how many zombie rats there are, and if my energy runs out first, things will be dire. Finally, after dealing with 3 waves of zombie rats, I think of a way to escape. The surroundings are full of zombie rats, and the only thing I am in contact with is the ground beneath my feet. If I go underground, this thought appears, and I do a quick premonition and confirm that it is not a rat's nest below. Immediately I use the same method I used to enter the room, opening a hole beneath my feet and dropping straight down. As I fall, I activate time stop, Below is an underground parking garage, which also has a large number of zombies, but no sign of zombie rats. This makes things much easier. Using the time stop, I quickly clear out the horde of zombies around me. By the time time stop ends, I have cleared a circular area with a radius of about 5 meters. At the same time, the spatial opening above closes, completely isolating the zombie rats from above. Upon seeing a living person like me, the zombie horde madly converges. I am equally merciless, my hands moving incessantly as space blades continuously slice through these zombies. Compared to the zombie rats, ordinary zombies are much easier to kill. This level of space blade hardly consumes my energy, and my stamina will not be exhausted. I fiercely clear out zombies in the underground parking garage, making more and more noise, and unknowingly fight my way to the bottom of the office building. Suddenly, Ming Zhao appears and tells me he senses the aura of a fellow kind nearby. Hearing this, I immediately activate time stop and look around. However, with numerous walls and vehicles obstructing my view, I do not find it at first. I directly flash onto the roof of a car, survey the surroundings, find nothing, casually deal with the zombies approaching, then jump off and flash onto the roof of another car. Following Ming Zhao's sensing, after circling through the zombie horde for a while, I finally see a glowing eggshell in a corner. After locating the target, I quickly approach the egg. Meanwhile, inside the office building above, a subordinate rushes in to tell Chanel that the people downstairs have found out that the zombies in the underground parking garage are all running in one direction. Chionil suddenly stands up from the sofa and asks about that egg. The subordinate tells him that the egg is still in its original spot, and that they can use this opportunity to get it. Chionil immediately bursts into excited laughter upon hearing this. He exclaims that heaven never seals off all exits, and that if he gets that egg, he will definitely be able to lead them all out. He orders his men to go and quickly organize people and head to the underground parking garage. Back in the underground parking garage, I, having learned flash teleportation, kill zombies while moving toward the egg. Soon I arrive next to it. The surface of this egg emits colorful light, and it is even slowly changing colors. I summon the Time Wheel Phantom Beast and ask, "How about this one?" Ming Xiao carefully senses it for a moment, then his eyes suddenly widen. He tells me that from the aura it emits, it is an SSS-Rank beast spirit, just like them. I say good. After hearing this, I unhesitatingly bite my finger and smear my blood on the eggshell. After completing the contract, I quickly turn and slay the zombies attempting to ambush me. After a few more large-scale clear-out skills, there is not a single zombie left standing in the underground space around me. Unbeknownst to me, I have killed every single zombie in the stretch of garage. At this moment, the colorful egg also begins to hatch. After a few crisp cracking sounds of the eggshell, a colorful ball of light flies out and merges into my body. Subsequently, a small fox emerges from my body. Its fur is primarily white, with several colorful patterns interspersed within the white fur. These patterns are concentrated on its neck, back, and legs. I sense its information. Kaleido Spirit Fox, Attribute Illusion Quality SSS, Current Stage First Order. The little fox now wags its tail, rubbing against me, and occasionally licks my face with its tongue. I say, "Oh, alright, that tickles." I stroke the Kaleido Spirit Fox in my arms and ask what illusion attribute is used for. Ming Xiao steps forward to explain that this means it can manipulate mental power to affect enemies, and that it can also increase my perception range. After hearing his explanation, I instantly understand, and ask whether increased perception range means I can also sense other SSS rank beast spirits. He tells me he does not know about that he is not an illusion type, and that I will have to ask the fox. As he speaks, he points at the Kaleido Spirit Fox in my arms. Suddenly, over here. Quickly, hurry up everyone, hurry. Did you not eat? A cacophony of voices and footsteps echoes from the stairwell not far away. Ming Xiao hears the commotion and instantly vanishes from his spot. As for the Kaleido Spirit Fox, she is not a problem. When Chanel leads his people to the underground garage, he sees a floor littered with zombie corpses. He had also obtained the crystal cores from the zombies' brains. By killing the zombies in the building, he has successfully advanced to Tier 2. However, the number of crystal cores required to advance from Tier 2 to Tier 3 seems quite substantial. Even if he used all the cores from everyone to enhance himself, he still could not reach Tier 3. Seeing so many corpses now, these are all crystal cores for the taking. Conservatively estimated, there are over 100. Chionil is ecstatic. So many crystal cores will definitely be enough for him to advance to Tier 3. He orders them to stop waiting and to go pick them up. A subordinate, running at the front, crouches before a fallen zombie. Pulling out a dagger, he is about to cut open the zombie's head. Suddenly, a bone spike flying from an unknown direction pierces straight through the subordinate's wrist. He screams in agony, clutching his arm with his other hand. Everyone else also stops what they are doing and turns to look in the direction the bone spike had come from. I call out to them mildly, saying, hey, is it not a bit rude for you to brazenly take my crystal cores? I slowly walk toward the group. That bone spike just now was shot by me. I had just wanted to try out my illusion type ability. Since it was about controlling mental power, I first tried telekinesis. I casually pulled out a zombie's leg bone and launched it as a bone spike, piercing through that minion's wrist. Even now, the bone spike is still firmly stuck in his hand. I am quite satisfied with this strike. If I could advance, The effect would definitely be stronger, but I will probably have to try out other illusion type abilities later. Chionil and the others see me and the colorful little fox on my shoulder. One of the subordinates feels a sense of familiarity, thinking it looks like the egg they had discovered. Suddenly, he freezes. Could it be that the egg they found has been contracted by this kid? Someone calls my name, Jin Chiol, asking how could it be me? I am startled. I remember that voice clearly, even if I died. I look at the person who spoke, and my expression instantly darkens. Wai Zong, that heartless boss who exploited me and then fired me. Wai Song, seeing that it is his timid employee from before the apocalypse, immediately relaxes significantly. He grins oily and tells me, oh, it is little Jin Chel, that this makes things easy to come quickly and hand over my beast spirit to Brother Chionil. He urges me. I answer without any politeness, saying that I earned this beast spirit with my own strength, and ask why I should just give it to him because he says so, and what he is to me anyway. Wai Song shifts into a sugary tone. He tells me, oh, this is where I am wrong, that we are all compatriots and that helping each other out is only right. Is it not? Moreover, he continues, with my personality I do not deserve to possess a beast spirit at all, and that handing it over to Brother Chionil and letting him lead them all to escape would be a better method. Now that the world has ended, he sermonizes, we should unite and help each other to forge a beautiful future. Wai Zong has begun his usual brainwashing speech, just like he often did at the factory. Wai Song begins to introduce Chionil, who is standing beside him. He asks me do I know him, then says he is none other than the mayor of our A city, Mr. Chionil, also known as Brother Chionil. Listening to Wai Song's introduction, I turn my gaze to Chionil, who is puffing out his chest with an arrogant expression. Seeing me turn my head to look at him, Chionil feels even more confident. He knows that as mayor, he is not someone just anyone can meet. He looks at the little fox on my shoulder and asks, feigning curiosity, young man, where did I get that creature on my shoulder? I answer, stroking the kaleidosphere fox's chin, that I just saw a colorful egg nearby and casually contracted it. However, Chionil's expression at this moment becomes as ugly as if he had eaten dirt. Just from the description, that colorful egg was clearly extraordinary and had long been considered his own. But then suddenly some brat came and snatched his possession. He cannot accept this, but he cannot show it directly. He still needs to maintain his mayoral demeanor. But before Chionil can speak again, I interrupt him. I tell him it is my turn to ask, how long have he and Boss Wai Song known each other? He asks why I ask that. I know that Wai Song oppressed his employees, but to do so excessively and still get away with it, I do not believe there was not some power behind him. Additionally, I had heard that a former employee who had been dissatisfied filed a lawsuit to take Wai Zong's factory to court. As a result, the lawsuit was directly dismissed on the grounds of providing false information. Not only did that employee fail in his lawsuit, he was also detained for several days. On the night he was released, that employee was dragged into an alley by a few thugs and beaten into a vegetative state. Those thugs were reportedly hired by Wai Song, and afterward they were only briefly detained and given a few days of education. It was simply lawless. Seeing Wai Song introduce Chionil to me, I suddenly had a bold idea. Could it be that Wai Song and this mayor had been colluding from the very beginning? Mayor, is that position not powerful enough? To protect a few subordinate factories, pull some strings and block others' lawsuits. That would be incredibly easy. Chionil frowns slightly but quickly relaxes. He tells me fine. Since I want to know, he will tell me. Hearing Chionil's reply, Wai Zong on the side starts to sweat. He had truly dared to be so presumptuous only because Chionil was backing him. He only needed to channel half of his excessively high income through certain channels, and it would not attract the attention of regulatory bodies. They had been profiting this way for years. But given the current situation, if Chionil reveals the truth, I might become uncontrollable. Although I am just one person and they have four, Wai Song does not believe they would lose. But he also does not want to fight me, because among them, he is the only one who had provoked me. If I want to drag someone down with me before I die, it would most likely be him. Wai Xiong is a bit flustered. He tries to pull Chionil back, but Chionil is about to scold him when he sees Wai Xiong's gaze, which clearly indicates he does not want Chionil to tell me anything. Upon closer thought, this Wai Xiong is this kid's boss, and Wai Xiong has bullied quite a few people. He was probably the one who had bullied me before. If that is the case, then the other party asking about his relationship with Wai Song is actually trying to trick him into talking. Heh. Chionil thinks naive. His lips curve slightly. He tells me that this boss Wai Song, he met him after the apocalypse. At that time, he says, they even cooperated and killed quite a few zombies in the building. Saying this, he puts his arm around Wai Song's shoulder, acting like a competent leader. But I know that Chionil is lying. When Chionil said that sentence just now, I felt, although very subtle, that I could still sense emotional fluctuations in him. If he was telling the truth, then why would there be such a reaction? The answer is already obvious. As a mayor, he can tell such a lie without batting an eyelid. In this way, I have indirectly gotten the answer I wanted. I narrow my eyes. This Chionil clearly has a problem. Wai Song most likely started following him even before the apocalypse. Otherwise, how could such a strong backing be explained? Since he likes to put on an act so much, I want to see how long Chionil intends to keep it up. With that thought, I instantly teleport in front of Wysong and then smash my fist hard into his face. Before Wysong can react, he is knocked to the ground by my punch. The other two subordinates with beast spirits see this and try to intervene, but Chionil stops them with a single look. After hitting Wysong, I then turn to Chionil with a chuckle, telling him that Mayor Chionil, this fellow here has a grudge with me. At this moment, I have already explicitly stated that I have a grudge with Wysong. I am expressing my desire to teach Wysong a lesson, and to show his impartiality, Chionil naturally cannot openly favor anyone. But he also does not think his subordinate will be beaten to death. In his opinion, a poor boy who was timid and unknown before the apocalypse, even if he has realized that a society ruled by law no longer exists, and wants to become a ruthless killer, would not change so quickly. Moreover, this subordinate of his has contracted a beast spirit. Even if I really intended to strike hard, Wysong has a contracted beast spirit and can stop any fatal blow immediately. Thus Chionil speaks magnanimously, saying, "Oh dear, this really shows his poor judgment in choosing people. And how about this? He will allow me to teach him a lesson, as long as I do not." But before Chionil can utter the words "beat him to death," I swiftly turn and punch Wysong directly in the head. This punch utilizes a bit of spatial power, directly blowing up Wysong's head. "Huh," I ask. "What did he just say?" I, having killed the man, turn to look at Chionil. Seeing me kill so decisively, the 4 words that had been stuck in Chionil's mouth stammer for a while before finally turning into a simple nothing. He composes himself. At least Wysong's beast spirit is still there. He can transfer it to another subordinate. However, the moment Wysong's beast spirit appears, it is swallowed by a fox phantom that suddenly emerges behind me. This time, Chionil completely loses his composure. Not only have I killed his subordinate right in front of him, I have also swallowed the beast spirit he had gone to such lengths to find. He is a mayor of a city. No matter what, others should give him some face. If it were not to maintain his image as mayor and to obtain the beast spirit on me, he would have killed this reckless fellow long ago. Even the few subordinates nearby show expressions of shock. They have never seen a beast spirit phantom appear behind someone before. There is no time to mourn Wysong's death, because the subordinate who had been impaled by my bone earlier has already been infected and turned into a zombie. He bites a subordinate who is still in a daze, causing that person to scream loudly. Someone shouts, "Oh no, he is infected," and another cries, "Kill him, kill him." A group of people swarm forward, smashing the two into a bloody mess. Seeing the crisis averted, Chionil no longer intends to stay in this underground garage. Just as he is about to call his subordinates back into the building, and at the same time figure out a way to seize my beast spirit, Chonky suddenly feels something squeezing him and says, "Brother Chionil," he feels like his head suddenly feels a bit uncomfortable. Chionil asks him what is wrong and whether he did not sleep well last night. "No," Chionky answers, "it is not that, he just feels..." Bang. Before Chionky can finish speaking, his head explodes like a burst balloon, splattering brain matter all over everyone. Everyone is dumbfounded. They see Chionky's beast spirit just peek out from his body before it is swallowed whole by the fox behind me. Chonky's head exploding was also my doing. What kind of good person could be Chionil's confidant? I decided to use him to test my new ability. Just now I tried to attack Chionky with my mental power. Invisible mental energy gathered around him, eventually causing his head to explode. Seeing my beast spirit once again swallow a subordinate's beast spirit, Chionil's eyes widen in fury, and he points at me, roaring that it was me, that I did it. Did I not? He snaps that I should not think I can do whatever I want just because I have power, and asks if I believe it or not that once the official arrives he will report me to them. I simply curl my lips into a faint smile after hearing that. Finally, he cannot keep up the act anymore.